At the Game Awards, we finally got some news about the latest threat against Super Earth, the return of the Illuminate, an intelligent and equally deadly alien civilization, previously seen in 2015's Helldivers. We were lucky enough to already dive headfirst into the Omens of Tyranny update, defending and extracting the democratic citizens of overrun colonies. And with the added threat of urban combat and a new type of warfare, we're even more excited about once again rejoining the fight for freedom. Afterwards, we were joined by Michael Erickson, the game director for Helldivers 2, who shared some juicy details about the upcoming Illuminate's campaign against democracy, a new vehicle dropping into the battlefield, and the destructive types of warfare you'll get to experience in the coming wars. Here are 4 new things we learned about the Helldivers 2 Omens of Tyranny update. First, we had the havoc-inducing Terminids and the merciless automatons, but the Illuminate sits somewhere between the two. There are Frankenstein's monster mix of zombie-like troopers, Super-Earth civilians who've been corrupted by the Illuminate, XCOM-esque extraterrestrials equipped with jetpacks, and War of the World type tripods with a killer aim. It's safe to say the cards are stacked against the soldiers of Super-Earth. But this is only the beginning.
This is when the Illuminate invade some of the Super-Earth planets. When this happens, it's the Illuminate vanguard fleet, is what we're saying. Doesn't seem to be the full faction. They're doing something mysterious that's a little bit different from the first game. They are mind-controlling citizens, innocent civilians of Super-Earth. They're removing their freedom, they're turning them into ruthless monsters to fight wars. And this is something that Super-Earth is very opposed to. They don't like this at all, and they would never do anything like this themselves. Yeah.
However, the Illuminate aren't the only hurdle for our Helldivers to tangle with the new play area itself offering a completely different experience than before, testing new and veteran liberty spreaders alike.
So you're playing against the Illuminates in a totally different kind of setting. So you're playing in an urban environment. They're very powerful. The Illuminate themselves are like demigods. They're super powerful. And you also faced off against the Harvester, like the big walking tripod thing, right? It's also incredibly difficult, and you have to be very careful because it has a laser that one-shots you. That's a very tricky enemy. And then we have more of a horde gameplay with these mind-controlled civilians that we're calling the voteless. We're leaning into this sort of horde gameplay with them that also is quite different from the other factions.
On the front lines between Helldivers and the Illuminate, the very essence of warfare will be changed. These stories, told from skirmish to skirmish, will shape the coming months ahead. On the front lines between Helldivers and the Illuminate, the very essence of warfare will be changed. These stories, told from skirmish to skirmish, will shape the coming months ahead. And Arrowhead are eager to see how the coming months will play out. You're no longer fighting over a desolate rock, with the battle inching closer to home. This update promises to offer a different kind of story experience, one that'll be shaped by the players who survive.
When you play the game first, the Illuminates, they won't actually capture planets, but they're using more guerrilla tactics, and they're up to something that I can't say right now. But for players who continue to play, they will be able to experience a new kind of story for the Illuminates that we've set up that will take place over the course of several months. So who knows what will happen with the Illuminates.
Same. Oh dear. Whoa.
To start off with, they're attacking in a more like a guerrilla warfare kind of way. They're going to be attacking several planets, and then let's see where this leads. I think it's one of the absolute biggest things that we must achieve is to make the galactic war be as consequential as possible and to give players an opportunity to become emotionally invested in what they're doing.
Before the Omens of Tyranny update, Helldivers were dropped into battle with only their guns, wits, and a shitload of weapons of mass destruction, along with the occasional hug or two. But with the latest update comes a first for the fight for democracy, and it comes with 4 wheels.
So you got to play with the FRV, our Fast Reconnaissance Vehicle, another super exciting update for the game that players have been wanting to play with for a long time. But new players will be able to, if they look for it, find the vehicle in these colonies, and then eventually, when the community has fought for it, they can also unlock the FRV. They're gonna have to fight a little bit for that. When you have access to it, it's a good thing to bring, because you want to sometimes drive quite large distances on roads. We're trying to stick to our core design philosophy, and one of them is that it needs to be believable. So the vehicles should be as believable as possible. You know, it's about as difficult to drive as you would expect. You know, and you're also driving in quite rough environments, it's not going to be too easy. And then also there's a person manning the turret. You know, well, they can be, some player can man the turret, and you don't have a seatbelt on the turret. So if you do crash into something, you probably will fly off, right? Because that's what makes sense.
And fly off is what we did. Amid a rush to the extraction point with multitudes of enemies on our tail and a total disregard for all galactic road safety laws, my fellow Helldiver and I were sent flying out of our FRV after colliding with a rock head-on. And the results certainly left a mark.
Perfect. Oh no! Oh, I'm alive. Quick. That's good to know, though. It's good info.
When we designed this vehicle, we tried to keep those two things in mind at once, both that it should feel believable to drive, and that we must design it in such a way to allow for these very fun, chaotic moments to happen. So I know I was watching you when the first mission that you played. I saw that you were manning a turret, and you actually flew off there when the driver drove into something. So that was hilarious to see. And that's exactly what I wanted to happen. Pro players who can master the vehicle and actually get really good at this, or they can try to make sure that those things don't happen. So I think you can master it. And there's the devs who've used the vehicle a lot, and now they can do really cool things that I can't do yet. I'm still in the category of, failing hilariously, but then I'm not the best player either.
With the war against the Illuminate inching over the horizon, and the promise of a multi-month-long campaign of guerrilla warfare, explosions, and plenty of emotes to spare, it's clear that Arrowhead has no intention of slowing down, even after the alien menace is dealt with.
The goal with the Galactic War and the Game Master functionality that we have is to make it as rich as possible for the players, and to give the players as much player agency as possible. So this is something that we will be building over the course of many years, and we do have way more planned in just how we update these systems. But we want to provide as many tools for players as possible to be able to shape the outcome of the Galactic War, and we want to make it as dynamic and emergent as the rest of the game is. So when you're playing a mission now, if you're thinking about in-mission experience, that can be a very dynamic and emergent gameplay experience, because it's all procedurally generated. So you can experience things that you did not expect, right? And you can really get these really cinematic moments. That is exactly the thinking we're having with the Galactic War as well. We want to build it, we want to keep building it like this. We set the stage for the outcomes to be totally unpredictable. We leave a lot to the players to decide. It won't be the final thing that we have imagined now for the Galactic War, but we are making some updates that can move us closer to that vision. And I think it will be very clear for players who keep playing now for a few months that there's definitely new things happening in the war, and they will have a bigger impact on the outcome than they've had previously. With this update that I'm super proud of, I think that the players will really enjoy this, but I can't wait to give them everything else that we're planning, right? And I'm happy that players are still with us on this ride, and I can't wait to show them everything else that we have planned.
For more from Helldivers 2, make sure to watch the trailer for the latest Omens of Tyranny update. And for everything else from the galactic front lines, you're already in the right place with IGN.